If you're posting about 9/11 and you're a Christian, let's talk. Because maybe you haven't stopped to think about why you're posting. So I want to help you out. You're sharing about this event for a few reasons, and the first one is because life matters. And on September 11th, 20 years ago now, 2,996 people lost their life because of a terrorist attack on our free nation. And that's something that we'll never forget. Families were forever changed. And so we're talking about this 20 years later because life matters. We're talking about it because actions have consequences. You know, wars erupted because of that event. Security and travel changed because of that event. And the health consequences from the smoke and ash and other variants, both in the air and on ground zero, has caused thousands more complications and cancers and deaths. It was more than just a few planes. We're talking about it because crisis unites us. And in the days of fresh perspective following September 11th, 20 years ago now, the phrase, "God bless America," was nationally revived. No atheist was placated or pacified or given national attention for their opposition. Every false religion, from Islam to Hinduism to Buddhism, shut their mouth in recognition that we have been, at our core, a Christian nation since our inception. And our constitutional principles are inherently biblical, drawn straight from scriptural streams. And an attack on that sent us as a nation running back to the acceptance of that fact. There's no racism at play. No, everyone was linking arms for national safety and in search of our greatest national treasure, the American lives that were still unaccounted for. You know, some are sharing these graphics about 9/11 because it's the socially acceptable thing to do on this day, but ultimately, you're sharing about 9/11 because you have the freedom to do so. And while the pilots of those planes intended to disrupt freedoms like that, men and women have continued to fight for your free speech opportunity. You have what the residents of the terrorist fighter pilots' nations of origin don't have. You have freedom. And so I'm glad that you're posting about 9/11. And I'm coming to you today to say, keep it up. I'm not here to call you out on the hypocrisy of saying Christians should stay out of politics and then turning around and posting about one of the most infamous days in our political history. I'm not here to say, if you've been silent about abortion, if you've accused pastors of being too political, or if you've been silent about our traitorous President Biden's Afghanistan blunder, then how dare you pretend to care about 9/11. I'm not here to say that. In fact, quite the opposite. I'm here to let you know that you're doing the right thing. And next week, when it's not culturally acceptable by fake cultural Christians, or when it's unpopular with godless leftists or lying politicians to speak up and speak out about other historic events or current battles, you started the snowball on 9/11, so might as well keep it rolling until there's an avalanche of free speech falling on our nation and being raised to our elected officials once again. I want you to know I'm vocal about what some people call political issues for the same reason you're posting about 9/11 today, because life matters. And abortion isn't political. LGBTQ issues, not political. Israel, not political. Communism, not political. Righteous policies, that's not a political thing. Racism isn't political. These are biblical issues. And when we stray from Bible definitions, sure, by virtue of the fact that our Constitution was based upon the Bible, we've got to throw that out next. But forget the Constitution for a second. Leaving out biblical principles on any of the aforementioned issues leads to death. And so I talk about them because life matters. We talk about these things regularly because actions have consequences, and too many Christians voted for an absolute satanic, godless platform this last go-round. And from babies' lives to Afghan lives to the generational ripples of the evil that currently inhabits our White House, actions have consequences. And so we post about these things because, well, crisis unites us. And ultimately, the reason why LGBTQ and abortion is even an issue in our day, the reason why someone like Joe Biden was allowed to get within 100 feet of the house of our nation's lead elected civil servant in a nation that has been historically Christian, here's why: because we're facing a sin crisis. People are dying in their sin. And so we post about these sin issues to sound the alarm of Christ's judgment and to point the way to the escape. There's only one: faith in Jesus Christ alone. Yeah, I know some people post political things into an echo chamber of pandering and popularity, but ultimately, we speak up because freedom is a biblical principle. And if you're silent about the issues that impact a biblical apologetic, you should go ahead and apologize to your followers who you've tricked into believing that you're a Christian leader at all.